Decided to enlist a little help today. This is my son Roy.
Hi guys.
Roy is a student, a graduate from Washington State University with a degree in fine art, and I thought maybe it might be fun to have another teacher do a couple of these videos. And so how do you feel about that?
It's a lot of fun, and I'm going to be happy to show you guys a few of the little tricks that I've learned in my past couple of years at graduating from WSU. Today, I think we'll try to do some cars.
Well, good luck. And you got a real artist today. Okay.
All right, guys. So this will be the truck that we'll be sort of drawing away at. Now, if you ever need to maybe go back, maybe pause the video on here, you can look at this truck right here, kind of as a good reference or something. Might be a little bit different from yours. Mine might be a little bit different, but that's all right. So here's a truck we'll be drawing. So you're going to want to grab a ruler, an eraser, and a good pencil. Make sure it's sharp, and we'll kind of get started here. All right, what I like to start with is a good ground line. I don't want my truck to be just floating around in space. I want a nice roadway or dirt road for it to be cruising along. So you have your good ground line right there. And maybe you'll do sort of another little line right here to kind of mark where maybe your wheels are going to sit and where the bottom of this kind of truck's going to be. So we'll kind of put that in right there. What I first like to start with is where my front grille is going to be and my back tailgate. So if they're both going to be sitting here, and I kind of like to put it above the ground line, just like as in here, the truck is kind of above that little ground line, but it's still kind of in there. So we'll kind of draw it all the way up to here. And what I like to do to start out with first is doing a nice hood on this truck, and it's kind of rounded and kind of goes up a little bit. That big engine in there and kind of be a little bit more aerodynamic, you know, so your truck doesn't get real slow or something. And I'll kind of do the front of the cab and then kind of continue it on. Now, the top of the cab's still a little bit rounded. You'll kind of round it off a little bit up here. And you'll do the back of the cab, and that too is going to be kind of angled a little bit, kind of backwards. And then you'll do kind of the back of the truck bed. So there we go. We got kind of what's called the body line of the truck, you know, the silhouette, what you kind of see from the side. And then what I like to do is I'll put my big front bumper right here on my truck, and it'll kind of go in a little bit, because you know the bumpers kind of wrap around. Same with the rear bumper. You'll want to put it at the same kind of level, and that rear bumper kind of wraps around as well. What I like to do is I'll first start with the wheel well. The wheel kind of goes in a little bit. What I like to do is I like to start from right here, kind of where the door is going to kind of connect up, because it's usually where the front door kind of stops, is right at that wheel well right there. So it'll kind of be held in right there. And I'll get to my back one. I'll kind of go in a little bit right here, and then make sure my wheel is nice and on the same level as my front one. So I've got a good two wheel wells right there. And I'll finish kind of the bottom of the truck right here. And so when I'm usually drawing wheels, it always looked a little off if I just, you know, put the wheel maybe right in here. It looks like your truck's kind of low to the ground. But it's not. Trucks usually, they've got a little, maybe you can put a little swirl thing right there, a little spiral, a little scribbles. Maybe it's like the shocks or the suspension system on the truck. And then what I like to do is I like to make a crescent shape under that wheel, where that kind of shock I ended it right there. So you've got a little crescent shape that kind of forms, and that's the top of your wheel. And then guess what? You can just continue it on, and you get a full circle. You got a full circle, and there's your wheel right there, kind of right above where I put that line that I put for where my truck's going to sit. There we go. We got a general shape of the truck. We got our truck right here, and then we got our wheels. After we kind of get that in, we can kind of get some of the more details. Like we'll put another little windshield right there, kind of your little front driver windshield. And then you could put your little back one right here, fill it in. And when you're drawing all these truck details, you notice this, I'm kind of drawing a lot of squares, so it's not really that hard to draw, a vehicle. We put another little square right here, and that's your little side mirrors right there, so you can see what's behind you. And then, for example, we're doing our other little squares. All we got to do is maybe another little line right here, and another line right there, and you got your front truck door. And then you can put another line right here, and you got your truck bed, and then you got your side door. Another little square detail you can do is put some little handles on those doors, because your people got to be able to get out of the truck. And another example for other little squares you can do for details. You got your front headlight, you got your little blinker, you got your rear brake lights and your little blinker. And those are just little squares that you can put on the back. And you can darken this one up because it's a rear headlight. Put another little circle in here for the bulb in the front one. Then it's always nice. Trucks aren't just, flat on the side. They've got little contour lines is what they call them, or little lines right there where the air rushes past them and it looks kind of cool. And then also other little lines that run along the truck. Maybe your truck's a little higher up, so you got to put a little step up for it or something. All right, so now we've got general truck right there like that. What we can also do is we can fill in where the wheel's going to kind of be, where you're going to screw it in, and put your little lug nuts in to screw your tires on. You can put a couple little more circles in there for that. Just like to put a little handful of them. And what you can do is we can kind of fill in the windows maybe. I always like to put a little white streak maybe through my windows. Don't fill them all the way in, because when light kind of bounces off of windows, you notice there's that little like white spot or shiny spot that kind of shines off of them, and it kind of glimmers in the sunlight. So you can kind of do that, make your windows look all shiny, such. You can kind of do all that. All right, so now that we got to that part, what we can start to do is we can fill in some of those darker areas. So fill in that wheel well. It helps that wheel kind of pop out in front of the truck. And then we can kind of lightly start shading in our wheel. It'll look real nice. And get that done. Yeah. So that's starting to look good. Now, like I said, I don't want my truck, just sitting kind of in the middle of space. And what I always like to do is I always like to put just a general shadow beneath it. You can kind of take the pencil and put it on its side. You can do that, give it a little bit of depth, like the truck's, it's sitting out the driveway or something. You can do that. And see, now the truck's got a shadow beneath it. That looks real nice. You can kind of do is you can maybe go harder with your pencil. You can get a nice dark line on the truck. Maybe emphasize some of these areas because the bed's not connected to the truck completely. It's got to kind of sway and move a little bit. You can darken up some of these other lines back here. Do that. It looks real nice. Maybe add some other details. You can do a little CV whip, maybe for the radio that they're talking on, kind of swinging back. And you can also add maybe some other little lines dragging off the back of the truck like it's driving somewhere. And speaking of those little details, you can also put maybe a little hay bale on the back of the truck, and that's just another square. Pretty easy to do. Do that. A few pieces of hay sticking out of it. Looks real nice. Like they're driving off somewhere with it. Now with the eraser, what you can do, you can just take out that ground line that we drew behind it. And what do you know? We got the truck running right behind us. And since we do have that ground line in the background, you can add maybe a few little puffy clouds, something like that, they're dragging behind. A few clouds in the sky right behind the truck to kind of, put it somewhere. Maybe it's in Montana delivering hay or something. All right, so now for the next car we will draw. I'm going to draw one of my favorite cars, and this one's going to be a little bit more advanced, guys. But we're going to draw a Porsche, but it's going to be kind of, it's going to look a little 3D. You see, we can kind of see the front end, but we can't fully see the back end. But Porsches were one of the first cars I learned to draw, and they were a lot of fun to draw. They're very, more simplistic shape. So if you guys want to, you can pause the video, kind of study this, look at what's kind of going on, and I'll be able to explain it real easily for you guys. But if you want to pause the video, you can go ahead and pause it now and look at this. Alright, so we're first going to start out just like with the last one. We'll put a nice little ground line in. So we'll have it kind of go across again. Kind of do that. Now, we're going to make two little lines for our car to kind of follow, and you'll understand why. So do the first one right here. And then we'll do a second one just a little bit above, and you'll kind of see why in a little bit. All right, so we've got these two lines right here. You can kind of put these little diagonal lines through to kind of get where things are. We'll kind of start from there. What we'll first do is we'll kind of make that teardrop shape. Now you'll be erasing some of these lines. What you'll do is you'll kind of do a little line right here, up here, kind of so you can get above the ground line, and then it'll kind of teardrop over here. And then what you'll do is, see this point right here at the end? You'll connect it all the way over, all the way back to the front end, to that diagonal. And what we'll first start out with, just like before, we'll kind of figure out where our wheels are going to be. So, put it right there, just behind the front bumper. And then we'll put, kind of remember how we made that diagonal line right there? We'll put the second one right here, following along that line. It'll be a little bit higher than this first one. Then we'll first start with the nice headlights in the front. And I always like the Porsche because it's got these kind of like a beetle or a bug. Those cars, they got these kind of rounded bug lights. And again, you see that diagonal line right there? It'll kind of follow along some of that. And then it'll kind of go another straight line right there. Right there. You got that front bumper and that diagonal line. You'll kind of follow it again and get another front end bumper like that. And it's kind of rounded in the front, so you'll kind of make a half circle, like with the coffee thing that Miss Therese taught you. All right, and then you'll do the windshield. And there'll just be a nice little straight line across right there, a nice little rounded line right there. Kind of go like that, and you'll still kind of follow that right there. Another little window, and that one will be just like a little triangle. And you'll do another little triangle window right back there. Alright, so you got kind of like, where the windows are going to be. Alright, so we'll move back down to the wheels. And again with the wheels though, this time, since they're already in kind of that wheel well, they're kind of in there. So you'll make a nice circle, like that. And what you can do, erase that part right there. And look, you've got the wheel like it's turning in there or something. So you'll make another circle like that inside of it. All right. So that went below that line right there. Now this line over here, you won't have it go below it. So it'll be kind of behind the car. And then do another little circle inside of it. You'll have your other one. Now it's okay if you guys make a mistake. You can always erase it and fix it. See, I have my front bumper a little too far back, and I pulled it forward a little bit. And then, so right here, you see this line again right here. You'll have your other rear wheel kind of attached back there. There we go. And we can erase some of these lines now, so they're not so distracting. You'll kind of see where the car's at. Both those rear wheels are right there. You got this right here. You got front wheel. You can do whatever kind of design you want. Maybe sometimes I like to do little triangles or something on the wheels for the rims. And then I'll kind of just fill these in. Just lightly shade them in. And see, the wheel kind of tucks behind right there. And there's another little wheel back here. You can just do a little half circle right there. There's always 4 wheels on the car. So there you go. You got your 4 wheels done. Maybe there's a little muffler on the back. You can put that sticking out. Just like on the back. You got your little brake lights. We can put our little side mirror, just like I said, they're just little squares that you gotta make. Yeah, we can erase some of these lines now. We can put our little front door panels, little hand. Now Porsches are coupes, which means they have 2 doors. You can squeeze in 2 people, maybe 3 if you can fold your friend in the back like an origami. There we go, got that. And what we can do is we can kind of fill in the windows. Like I said before, maybe you leave a little white strip in it. Kind of looks like the sun's kind of shining off your window. Same with this one back here. You can kind of do the same. A little bit of shine off of the windows. I like to do these little lines back here because Porsches have a little sun visor kind of thing in the back, so you can kind of do that. And then, like I did with my last one, I can do the Porsche maybe doing like a little burnout or something. And when somebody's kind of drifting around, the lines, they run what's called parallel next to each other, so they'll kind of look like, 2 pencils like that. So we'll kind of, maybe we'll do some little black lines, maybe curving around, but they run parallel to each other. So you can kind of do some little lines like that kind of go across the page with a little bit of a rounded kind of edge, just like that. Maybe we can put another little antenna on the car that's kind of swinging back. Maybe a few little smoke bits. I always just like to do little swirls or something. I just keep those going. Looks like the tires are burning out or something. Very cool. Yeah. Yeah, we can just color in your car, whether you want to use crayons, watercolor, oil pastels. And look at cars online. You guys have Google and you can look up Porsches, Ferraris, look at some of the kind of stuff that people do with these cars, and some very cool paint jobs you can maybe put on your car and you get it done drawn. But yeah, there's your little Porsche. All nice and done up. Almost forgot the little badge on the front. Also, not to forget, put your little signature.
Well, I'm back, and what did you do?
Well, we made a truck. We learned what a ground line was, put a little bit of shading on it.
Wow.
Even put a little bit of lines on the back to make it look like it's moving forward or something.
Okay.
A little bit of hay and such with the farm.
Okay.
Then, went a little bit harder, we made a Porsche.
Oh,
in
wow.
Perspective.
Look at the angle on that. That's terrific. Would you give me a lesson?
Sure thing.
Thank you. Hey, this has been Art with Miss Therese, but not today. It's been Mr. Roy. He's going to be in the next one, and I hope you enjoyed a little bit of a change. He's a good teacher, right? See you guys next time.